Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's another episode of CoinNewsExtra weekly blockchain, cryptocurrency, and fintech panel discussion. So today is the season 2, episode 4 of our panel discussion. So it's going to be amazing. So we have an interesting and pressing topic that we'll be discussing on this episode. But before I proceed, so I want to tell you that this episode is brought to you in partnership with the Fintech Association of Nigeria. So we're also streaming live on Facebook and on Airmeet. So thank you very much. Before I proceed, let me introduce, I will not be anchoring this session alone. Let me introduce my co-moderator, Dr. Babatunde Obrimah, who is the co-COO, Fintech Association of Nigeria. Doctor, you're welcome to CoinNewsExtra.
Yeah, thanks. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's session.
It's a pleasure to have you. So we'll be proceeding by introducing our panelists. So I know some of them have not been able to join us, and some were absent for one or two reasons, but they have someone representing them. So let me proceed. Let me introduce Mr. Chuta Chimezie, who is a founder of Blockchain Nigeria User Group. Thank you very much, Mr. Chuta, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, CoinNewsExtra. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. So, Doc, you can introduce our next speaker. Dr. Babatunde.
Okay, good morning, everybody. The next speaker is Senator Ihenye. He's being represented this morning. Is the president of the of CBAN, which involves a lot of partners in the blockchain group, and he will be bringing his experience to bear as we engage in today's discussions. Thank you.
Yeah, so Senator Ihenye is heavily represented by John Arinze, who is CBAN Vice President on Policy and Regulations. John, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. So our next speaker who will be helping us to talk about this amazing topic. Maybe he's on their way joining us. Some of them are telling me that they will be joining soon. So people that will be joining us, I have with me Nathaniel, who is the lead Dash Nigeria, and also Abikure Tega, who is the founder and CEO of Kurecoin. So, and also Adeola Adetunji, he'll be joining us soon. So, hello? Okay, Luz is here. Nathaniel, are you with us?
Hello, good morning. Yes, I am. Good morning.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to have you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay, as our speakers, our panelists, as they join us, we'll be introducing them. So, but let's proceed with the topic of the day. So, we'll be looking at what have been happening in the ecosystem. And we saw what happened last week, Friday. The Central Bank of Nigeria released a notice about cryptocurrency. So, we'll be having an insight. Our topic today is insight on the recent Central Bank of Nigeria ban on cryptocurrency. So we want to know what all this entails. Is it actually a ban, or what is it all about? You know, yeah, some people see it as a total ban, but others are seeing it just like talking about cryptocurrency against Naira. So all these things will be getting to know more as we dive into the topic. So let me give a little shout out to our sponsors, our partners, Hard Community, Project Hydro, Sigma, and Mtech. Thank you very much, and we are also appreciating the Fintech Association of Nigeria, who is partnering with us on this episode. Thank you very much. So let's proceed. Let me begin with you, Mr. Chuta. Seeing you are a stakeholder in the ecosystem, how has the crypto and blockchain sector played a role in Nigeria's economy? What would you say?
Okay, thank you so much, CoinNewsExtra. Blockchain technology is a very empowering technology on its own. Add that to crypto asset technology, the ability to move and transfer any asset without border restrictions, okay, in split seconds. Okay, so there are several applications of it that makes it one of the most enduring technology that governments across the world are looking at and at leveraging. So to come and begin to experience a restriction, because it's not really a ban, but it's even though it's supposed to achieve the same result as a ban, but it's a restriction. I call it of service, DOS, for crypto operators. So it's very, very disheartening, because we should be looking at how we can utilize this tech to wangle ourselves away from the deep hole that we found ourselves in, economically and infrastructurally. So it's unfortunate that the Apex Bank is faulting a tech like this in the manner that they have done in the last week. So blockchain and crypto, definitely, whether we like it or not, is going to change the way we live, transact, do businesses, relate with one another. The way government is going to work will change also. So even if Nigerian government and its institutions refuse to get in early, because the early bird eats the farthest worm. So we had the opportunity of quite early, or at least getting in as early as the rest of the world is getting in, so that we can make the best of it. But unfortunately, we are having this setback at this time. But I think we'll get over it.
Interesting. That's a very nice one from you. And it's like Abikure Tega is just joining us. So Abikure, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Why we wait?
Good morning.
Okay. Yeah, it's our pleasure to have you. You're welcome. So Babatunde, over to you, sir.
Okay, so going with the same question, how do you think that, maybe I should take this to Nathaniel, how do you think that this has helped empowerment in Nigeria, in terms of youth?
Hello, maybe he's having some network issues. Hello?
Hello?
Okay, continue, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, continue, sir.
Okay, so my question was to Nathaniel, that how do you think crypto has helped with empowerment in the last few years that's been in the markets?
Hello, Nathaniel, are you with us? Nathaniel? Okay.
Yes,
Did
I'm
you get the
here.
question? Did you get the question?
No, it was actually breaking from his end. I don't know if you could repeat it.
Yeah, we are talking about how the crypto and blockchain setup played a role in empowerment. So that's what he was asking. How has it played a role in empowerment, seeing how the nation is today? Do you think crypto and blockchain has really played when it comes to empowerment, most especially the youths?
Okay, thank you so much, CoinNewsExtra, for being on this platform. I appreciate it. You see, I do tell people everywhere and every time I speak that cryptocurrency for the first world is a luxury. But for us in Africa, it is a necessity. And the reason is because we are already cut out from the global financial structure. We are already cut out from the global financial system. Do you understand? Our banks limit how much we can spend monthly. dollars, and some banks even do $20 monthly. Just imagine that. Sending money out of the country is war. Receiving money from outside the country, it's the same thing. So crypto has come to connect us to the global economy. Crypto has come to give us an option, an alternative. And that has empowered a whole lot of people. The beautiful thing about crypto is that most of the people involved in crypto in Nigeria are millennials and Gen Z. And permit me to say that most of us will never get into the Nigerian stock exchange. But we are going to use crypto because this is what empowers us. And from the ban of the CBN, it's actually quite funny. How can you tell me I cannot use my money to buy Bitcoin? Or I cannot sell Bitcoin back and get Naira sent to my bank account? I mean, my bank, GTB, called me to warn me last week, Monday. And all these things are funny. But then I can see that it's actually threatening their own establishment. It's more like we being called out from the global establishment. Crypto comes to bankers, and now the banks are scared, and they're coming to threatening the establishment offering these crypto services to us. So that's just what I see playing out here.
Interesting. Let me move to you, Abikure Wisdom Tega. You are the founder and CEO of Kurecoin. So how do you see the crypto and blockchain? What role do you think it has played when it comes to innovation? Knowing very well that you are a CEO of an exchange, how do you see the role it has played when it comes to innovation?
Okay, thank you very much for having me on board this morning amongst these notable personalities. I mean, it's already very much obvious what the space is doing as far as finance is concerned. There's no question about the effectiveness and the credibility of the technology blockchain anymore. Now, the bone of contention now is cryptocurrency. There is also no contention about its effectiveness. However, the concern is a breakdown of the current financial system, all right, without, in quotes, giving the necessary control measures that the current system has. Now, the innovation cuts across remittances. The innovation has cut across system. Notice some of the figures that are flying in the air in the last 4 years as regard the volumes of transaction in this space is a reflection, not just the fact that this is the future, it's a reflection of the ease of transactions. Some of these current banks took years, years to be able to have such volume of transactions. All right, and to think that the traditional finance is yet to have an active role, and yet we are seeing this, tells you where this is going in the next 5 to 10 years, especially in the African economy. All right, so you could notice that a lot of there's been a merge between innovation in fintech and that which you have on the blockchain and the cryptocurrency space. Okay. All of the cryptocurrency startups and organizations are using the most modern fintech solutions available. Now, the urge for the cryptocurrency startups and firms to keep up with the high-level service offered globally is even pushing the banks and the current financial system to give us services. We could see the innovation Providence Bank has been making in terms of its tech to be able to serve these platforms, and how these banks are catching up, all right, and how these banks are catching up to make sure that so that they become also remain, relevant in the financial space. So I think that this is supposed to be driving us forward, all right, making us, it's like I call it a positive kick, at the butt to sit up and then do what is necessary for the progress of fintech, technology, and then finance. That has been playing well before, the emergence, and of course, some of this innovation, these fintech innovations also had their own, issues and clashes with CBN at their initial innovation phase. But with time, it was easy for them to create some level of marriage in terms of the current traditional finance and those solutions that the fintechs are bringing. But the crypto space, the blockchain space, it's evolving too fast. So much so that if you're a fintech if you're a startup in the crypto space, within 2 years, you even within a year, you've updated your app at least 17 to 18 times. Because there are things you want to change, there are new solutions, there are new level of services you want to give. The programmers are continuously busy. So I think that this is a drive that is supposed to be pushing and moving, because it's new. It's supposed to be pushing and moving the current fintech space and the traditional finance system that we have, not these push aside that we are currently having. It's just quite unfortunate. But I know that the impact that the cryptocurrency and blockchain firms to the fintech space in Africa and in Nigeria in particular is here to stay. Basically, because I've observed that every other e-wallet or a fintech app that I use, I observe that there's a continuous updating of their apps to meet up with what these other apps related to blockchain and cryptocurrency are already providing out there. There's a continuous catch up, on most of these apps. When I look at them, I browse through some updated apps. Yeah.
Abikure, I have to cut you short here. We still have a lot of patience. So let Dr. Babatunde, maybe you have take the question.
Okay, so I'd like to welcome Mr. Adetunji to the session, and I would just like to ask him, should crypto be regulated? And if it should be regulated, who should do that? Should it be the CBN? Should it be the SEC? But what do you think?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me on your platform. First, sorry I joined late. I apologize for that. So I didn't hear much of what the first speaker had to say. But you have to cast your mind to what exactly is a crypto. Is it a currency or is it an asset? That's what you have to ask first. If you classify it as an asset, then it falls in the ambit of capital markets, which is SEC. If it is a currency, then it falls in the ambit of the monetary policy maker, and that is the central bank. Cryptocurrencies are unique because they straddle both. They're both assets. They can be assets and they can be currencies. That's the challenge. Why you have such emotions around the discussions around cryptocurrencies. Now, let's talk about the monetary policy aspect. The central bank's responsibility is to ensure financial stability, and it is also the issuer of legal tenders. So in that case, if you classify a cryptocurrency as a currency, is it in contest with your legal tender, which in the case of Nigeria is Naira? So the reason why the bank says we prohibit transactions by the players within the monetary space, within the ambit of the central bank, is because they look at it from a macroeconomic perspective, and what the potential impact of having a cryptocurrency as a currency would have on overall price stability and financial stability. That is why the bank says what it says. Now, you can say, well, why don't they just go ahead and just start regulating? You have to regulate something that you understand very well and that you're sure is not going to have a negative impact on your responsibilities. I think, having heard a lot of comments, I think some assume that the CBN has no idea what a cryptocurrency is, and probably that the CBN is not doing anything. I happen to sit on the board of the CBN, and I know that there is a whole department that takes care of digital currency space, whether they're cryptos or CBDCs and so on. So that is being looked at. And there are international, I would say, international collaboration with other countries, from those that are already operating CBDCs or have accepted cryptocurrencies to some extent, to those that have banned it completely. So that conversation is ongoing. I hope that answers your question, but you could ask me for clarification.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adeola Adetunji. He is the CEO of Mvoula Group Limited and also non-executive director at the Central Bank of Nigeria. So that's a nice one coming from you. Let me move the next question to John Arinze, who is standing in for Mr. Senator Hene. So, John, you are the STBAN Stakeholders and Blockchain Association of Nigeria Vice President on Policy and Regulations. There has been several discussions between the industry players, stakeholders, and SEC. Does it mean that these discussions were not fruitful while this CBN ban is coming?
Yeah, thank you, CoinNewsExtra, for having me in here. I will not say that the discussion is not fruitful. As a matter of fact, the discussion is ongoing, and the industry had a roundtable discussion with SEC last month, January, and the outcome of that the discussion or dialogue is what have resulted into the industry putting up a coordinating committee from the industry to oversee the affairs of the industry, so that we have a unified approach in tackling both the concerns the regulators are raising in the industry, especially SEC. So the discussion is fruitful, and it's a continuous process. Now, coming to the CBN's approach in terms of banning cryptocurrency or digital assets in Nigeria, CBN is a regulator of its own, and the SEC is a regulator of its own, and both of them were established or was established on different oversight functions. I know, just like the last speaker said, Mr. Adetunji, he said that yes, when you view cryptocurrency in two angles, you will see that yes, there is the aspect of it that qualifies to be a digital asset, and the other ends qualifies to be a currency. As a matter of fact, you cannot mention crypto without currency. And the CBN, our central bank, I know that one of the oversight functions they have is to regulate currency stability of every geographical region where they operate. So I believe there must be a level of communication gap in the area between the two regulators. But I believe that nothing too bad has happened so far. With a continuous discussion and dialogue and the conversation and the engagement, we know that we will harmonize all the differences and come and reach to a common ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice one from you. Babatunde, over to you, sir.
Okay, so if I come back to Chuta, what is the implication of this ban for the exchanges right now? Considering that the exchanges will not be able to do transactions, does it mean that the exchanges are going to close? Are they going to leave Nigeria? How does that affect employment?
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much. We had a very robust meeting yesterday, like Arinze has said, and that meeting was majorly with exchange operators, wallet issuers, and fintechs that connect crypto assets to fiat businesses. and we had close to 52 of them in the call. Now, we had complaints in terms of feedback because, Nigeria is a funny country. Forgive me for using that word, but they make things more difficult than it's supposed to be, in essence. So the feedback we got is that some of the exchange accounts had already been closed. Some complained that their funds were actually moved out of their accounts. Some complained that their account were restricted, so they can't access it. And some of them, we are talking about exchanges that have huge amounts of money, hundreds of millions. So if you are saying, okay, I want to close your account, come and take your money, are they suggesting that the exchange operators will bring in bullion trucks and lift the money in cash and keep them at home? Now, these monies, remember, they are majorly monies that belong to Nigerian traders, people who are using their platform. Because I remember one of them who complained that he was instructed to transfer the money out. And the bank regulatory system requires that you have to move the money from, if it's your account, it has to be the same name, and you have to transfer it from that, move it from this bank with the same name to this bank with the same name. Complicated stuff. And now that they are shutting crypto exchange accounts, which bank will open a crypto account for an exchange? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So first of all, we have this confusion going on the fact that these operators can't really operate anymore. Secondly, look at the multiplier effect. The industry has grown so much beyond what the regulators could have imagined within a very short time. And they have employed massive number of people directly and also indirectly. Thirdly, there are so many Nigerians who are trading cryptocurrencies as a primary source of income. A lot of youths, a lot of institutions also are doing it because of the high return that is coming out of it. Look, because cryptocurrency is high yielding doesn't make it illegal, because this is technology. We are early adopters. So because we are early adopters, definitely if I buy an asset today, take a look at an asset like a BNB, for instance, that was barely $40 2 weeks ago. Right now, BNB is trading about at $150. It's not because it's something criminal. It's because of the technology and what the technological future of that project looks like. That's why people are coming to invest in it. And if I'm holding it at the time that it was cheaper, today I will be smiling because the price is. This is how this industry plays. So there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with investing early in a business or in a product or in a project that is in its early stage. And the government and regulators want to disenfranchise Nigerians from participating in a $2 trillion industry. It's unfair. It's unfair. And, if this thing is not checked, then we should be ready for the consequence, because if you block every opportunity that exists, then don't be surprised that people will, return to devices that, the society typically wouldn't want.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chuta, for that nice contribution. So I will be very soon. We'll be accepting questions and taking questions from our audience. So in case you are joining us and you have questions, so you could drop your questions at the question section. If you are joining us on Airmeet, but if you are joining us on Facebook, just drop it at the comment section. We'll be picking those questions after we answer the ones we have here. So let me move to Abikure. Abikure, what does this ban by the Central Bank of Nigeria, what does it mean for the stakeholders in crypto and blockchain in Nigeria? What does that mean?
Okay, could you take that again, please? I missed the first line.
I said, what does this ban by CBN on crypto? What does it mean for stakeholders in this industry? What does that mean for them?
Okay, I'm glad you tried to categorize the several persons that this will be affecting, because it's not the same way it's going to be affecting everyone. It's affecting, first of all, the average investor who wants to come into cryptocurrency. And what CBN is actually blocking today took years to develop. It wasn't always like this. A couple of years ago, when I wanted to buy a Bitcoin, I had to transfer monies to a friend in the US using my domiciliary account and using any other means to get funds to him in the US, and ask him to buy Bitcoin for me and then send the Bitcoin to me on sites that I could see on my computer, just because they were not providing service to Nigerians, because there was no link to the bank account. So what we have today is actually an innovation. It's a growth in the industry. That's what is being truncated today. So it's going to affect the average Nigerian who wants to invest in crypto, for the ease that has been created by these platforms. The fact that it doesn't matter that it's a global asset, it doesn't matter that it is being rated or calculated in dollars. It can reflect in your bank account in 60 seconds. For example, one of the services we provide on our platform. It's amazing, and other platforms have been able to make that very, very simple for any Nigerian. So this is what has been affected right now. What that would mean for them is, over time, if this is not resolved, it's going to cost the average Nigerian more to get the asset than it should have. All right. Then on the part of the exchanges, it's of course there are already solutions coming up. This is not a ban on cryptocurrency; it's a ban on the banks not to do business with cryptocurrency related transactions. So it's the bank that is being regulated by CBN. Is the bank that CBN has said, hey, don't do business with cryptocurrency related companies or transactions. Now, which means you are saying that cryptocurrency can go on, but don't do business with us. It means that other solutions are going to come up. As I speak to you, a couple of startups in this space are already building solutions. But we are already building a solution, an alternative one to that. But there's a level of uncertainty that begins to come up from investors, most especially investors looking to invest in these startups. There's that level of uncertainty that's going to be coming up. Okay, now that this has happened, even if you have an innovation to bridge this, what if they come again with another hammer? Who knows? Because what has happened now, and the saddest part about this secular on air is we do not understand this. This is just an expression of a body language. We do not know the essence. What is, for every law, there's a policy behind every law. What is driving this? What are they trying to achieve? If we even understand it, then he begins to give us a direction as to whether an alternative technology is the best, or creating solutions for users is the best, or outrightly just getting off the space, or go to other African countries or other countries who are ready to do businesses with exchanges, do business with them. Then thirdly, the set of people I think this is going to affect adversely are the enthusiasts. All right. For example, in our team, I have at least about four direct team members and about 6 indirect contract team members who are students and are still in school, working remotely, and are receiving salaries. And I know that's the case for a lot of these startups in the space. And most of them who are trading, they're in school. Still, one of them is in final year. Already, they've developed themselves through the internet on the technologies of this space and are very effective earning. So that is another sect, that's also going to be affected. Enthusiasts, those empowered in the space. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Tega, I have to stop you there. We are running out of time, so we still need to take some questions and also get some questions from our audience. Sorry to cut short there. Babatunde, let's move to the next question. Dr. Babatunde?
Yes, So I mean, the next question will be to Nathaniel. So Nathaniel, I mean, what do you think? Let me go to Mr. Adetunji, since we'll be able to give us some more of a regulatory perspective. What should be the proper regulatory guideline for this sector of the economy? I mean, for the cryptocurrency. I mean, I know that you, because of your position, you probably have some maybe more information than we all have. We've all had issues of money laundering, fraud, and what have you. So, I mean, the issue is this. So from your first comment, it can be an asset, it can be a currency. Why don't you let SEC register exchanges as traders? And if you are moving from crypto, from assets to cash, of course, then there should be disclosure, KYC issues, and you know who is taking the cash. Can we have that handshake between SEC and CBN? How should we look at regulation for this? Because that's critical. I mean, if over $500 million is being is going on, that means that it's a huge business. I mean, no matter what you look at it, either we like it or not, with what Tesla did 2 days ago, it's almost like putting a stamp on it. So how do we resolve this and make sure that the regulator is happy and operators can still do business?
Okay, before I think it's important to state again that the CBN has not banned cryptocurrencies from the country. And I think Abikure did say that as well. So we need to emphasize that. The prohibition has got to do with transactions within the financial institutions. That is what the prohibition is. And recall that I did say that the responsibility of the central bank is to ensure financial stability in the country and is the ultimate issuer of a legal tender. If the bank sees anything that could be a threat to that, now bear in mind that probably 90% of the population of the country do not even understand what we are talking about. So we've got to wait and take into consideration the total macro impact before we even get into anti-money laundering and so on. We have to take into consideration the possible total impact on the financial environment and the impact of monetary policies. With cryptocurrencies, anybody can create a cryptocurrency, and anyone can make a statement, if you have enough clout, that will impact the movement or the volatility of cryptocurrency. Yes, it's important. It's nice to talk about short-term gains based on transactions, and to say, well, if two people are actually making a living from trading, fine. It's okay to say that, but that is from a very minimum number of people compared to the whole Nigerian population. So the interest of the central bank is not the 10%, it is the 100%. Now, related to your question specifically, there are ongoing conversations and discussions between the SEC and the central bank. I know there was a meeting yesterday. I also know, and you might not be aware, that the first circular on cryptocurrencies from the CBN came out in 2017, I think. 2017, there was another one in 2018, there was another one in 2019, with this latest one. So the mere fact that people have caught on to it, the CBN had been aware of it, and conversations had been happening in terms of how best to go about it. The communication to the banks had been happening since 2017 to say, do not entertain this. This has taken more light because there are more people that are involved in cryptocurrencies. Go do your background check and you will see that there has always been communication. The bank, like I said also, aside from conversations around cryptocurrencies, there's also conversations around central bank-owned digital currencies, and there are regular conversations and discussions and work being done with international collaborators, including the global banking system. So all that is ongoing. So it's not just about the anti-money laundering or the KYC. That is an issue. And you know that in our country, if you don't watch carefully, there will be illegal activities that go along with gaps. That is why we have to, the central bank has got to be sure what they are getting into before they open it up. And it will probably, the process will probably be first to set up a bill in the parliament, and then on what the regulator can do and what the regulator cannot do, because it's not just up to the regulator to continue. The Senate and the House of Assembly are the ones that have to write the laws for this country. But for now, within the ambit of what the central bank can do and what the SEC can do, those are in the appropriate bills that come with that address those two regulators. But there are definitely conversations that are happening on a regular basis. If you want the crypto to be on, like you said, there has got to be a handshake, no doubt. But for now, the bank says we're not comfortable with where we are and how we can manage this evolution. So for now, please stay away.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution. In case you are just joining us, this is CoinNewsExtra Weekly Blockchain and Cryptocurrency Fintech Panel Discussion, Season 2, Episode 4. So we are talking about insight on the recent CBN ban on cryptocurrency. So we'll soon be taking questions from our audience. But before that, let me move to Nathaniel. Nathaniel, what's the way forward? Let's look for, we've been able to talk about the ban and all the rest of them. So let's look for the way forward. So how do the industry players engage the CBN on this? Nathaniel, are you with us?
I think it's dropped off. No.
Okay, maybe I'll move that question to, let me move it to John Arize. Can you take the question?
Yeah, the way forward is a continuous engagement and roundtable dialogue. The first and foremost, if I might understand you well, the way industry wants to tackle it is that first of all, we need to inquire from CBN, what do they actually want? I mean, what are these concerns there that made them to make that pronouncement? Because the pronouncement to the industry players is a harsh one, because it affected every activities in the industry and both the livelihood of people. So we understand their own point of view. Then we analyze the situation, just like Dr. Elia said, yes, that there are key measures we can borrow from the other climates like the US and the UK, Japan, and the rest of them, the Western world. Regulators came in, and a regulatory framework is being adopted. Then everybody abide by the compliances. So when you have all these things in place, the AML, the KYC, you know who is who, you know what everyone in the industry, what they are doing. Now on the industry level, on the players, operators level, we already have put a lot of things in place, although unfortunately probably CBN is not well informed about this. Recently, we, based on our engagement with SEC, we established an anti-scam task force, joint task force of all the operators in the industry. And this to checkmate all the concerns that SEC has raised over the period of time. And there also, there are drafts that is ongoing. As a matter of fact, is already completed by Beacon. Beacon is Blockchain Industry Coordinating Committee of Nigeria, which encompasses all the operators in the industry. The draft is already ready to be submitted to SEC. And so if all these kind of factors or all these forms of factors are being looked into and everybody harmonize it, both CBN and SEC, I believe that yes, we'll reach a common ground whereby everybody will be on the advantageous side. It's a win-win approach. CBN banning cryptocurrency in Nigeria. Now, one way or the other, the economy is being shut out. That part section of economy is being shut out. And they have something to gain also if a good system is put in place.
The CBN did not ban cryptocurrency in Nigeria. I keep insisting.
Okay.
I think that's a mental model. Sorry, I had to interrupt because it's the fourth time I'm hearing that in this platform, and I think it's a misinformation. Sorry about that.
All right. So, but I also of the opinion that when you disenfranchise the citizens of the country their right to being served by the bank, that means you are shutting them out of the economy. And I believe that also what this cryptocurrency came to do is a kind of financial inclusion, just as the Mr. Chuta and the other speakers said earlier. Remittance issue, especially cross-border remittance, has been an issue, serious issue in settlements of trade and services in this country over years, not only in Nigeria, Africa at large. So if you shut out the operators out of banking services, you have touched our rights also. So that's why I'm saying it's not we are not coming out, the industry is not coming out to launch an offensive attack to CBN or to the regulators, because we are all stakeholders. So the modality we are taking, the route we are taking is that yes, engagement and continuous engagement. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Dr. Babatunde.
Okay, so let me go to Chuta. So Chuta, I mean, in view of the comments that's been made, and Mr. Adetunji did mention the fact that this might be something that will go to Parliament. How long do you think this will be for? I mean, because it's good that the industry looks about that. I mean, if the CBN, the regulators have to go to Parliament to pass a law for these issues to be resolved, what kind of time frame? Because it's good that as industry operators that this information is critical. I mean, how do you start to plan? How do you get involved even in the
maybe it's internet.
Oh, okay, sorry. Can you hear me now? Hello, Chuta, can you hear me?
I could hear you.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, but Abikure, can you hear me? Maybe you can take the question. Hello, Abikure, can you hear me?
Mr. Abikure, are you with us? Mr. Abikure.
Oh, yes, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I was asking if you can take the question. It's obvious that Twitter was not hearing me.
Please go ahead. You have a question?
So, I mean, in view of the fact that CBN and SEC are discussing, and this might have to go to Parliament could end up with Parliament for laws to be made. We don't know. That might mean that it will take quite some time, knowing the way our system works. As operators, how does that, what kind of time frame should we look at? What should operators be doing in this time, within this time frame or how should they also engage Parliament also? I mean, if that is the way out. Seems Tega, you didn't hear me.
Okay.
Mr. Abikure, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Now, can you take the question, please?
Yes. Can I have it again, please?
Okay. I mean, Lee, maybe you should ask the question since it's
Doctor is not audible. We're not hearing him. I'm not hearing anything from him.
I'm hearing him.
Okay, maybe Dr. Babatunde, you can repeat the question.
If Uche,
Okay.
if you are hearing it, you can re-echo it since we are hearing you.
Okay.
Exactly.
What
Yeah.
it was. Okay, maybe you can say it again so I can get the question, Dr. Babatunde.
Okay, so I mean, the question is this. I mean, from the discussions we've had, SEC and CBN are discussing, and it's likely that this might go to Parliament. And I'm saying that as operators, that means that there's going to be quite some time frame. What should operators be doing within this time period? Should operators also be engaging the Parliament? I mean, it's something that operators should think about.
So the question is asking, since it's going to take time for the parliament, approaching the parliament and all the rest of them, what should the operators be doing while we are waiting, knowing very well how the system is over here? It's going to take quite some time. How are we going to be coping up?
Okay. We're glad that, or I don't know whether we are the ones to be glad or CBN, that the body and the people in question are responsible founders and CEOs. So they shouldn't expect any blackouts or any form of riots or any of those sorts. What we are doing and what we have done as a first start is to have a closed-door meeting for all industry stakeholders, which we have. There's already a roadmap of what we should do. I don't think this is a public forum, so I don't think I'm in a position to disclose the content of such meetings. But we have met and we are drawing a roadmap on how to engage. First of all, CBN and SEC, so we'll know what exactly is the reason behind this, and then what we should now do next. And while we're at that, a couple of persons who have complained about their accounts being frozen or not given access to or liquidated, we actually saw a tweet this morning from one of the founders that their account balance is in zero. I don't know what that means, basically. So we're trying to, first of all, take a legal action against the banks for doing so, because CBN did not state that funds should be seized. So any bank, through their own internal policy, who's riding on such, is taking advantage of a CBN circular, should attend or should answer to the law in that regard. So we're also making move, in that direction as well. While on the other hand, to our users, we are also communicating to them updates and telling them what they should do. A lot of persons are panicked because of the circular, not really understanding. If you already have Bitcoin, or if you have any cryptocurrency, you don't have any problem. You don't have any problem. Now, what this has done is CBN is helping the markets go into the hands where it cannot even understand what is happening anymore. Because I tell you, in the last 48 hours, the volume of transaction of cryptocurrency has increased drastically, but not through the exchanges. So right now, even the statistics that CBN has been seeing that is making them come, they can't even know what's happening anymore. It will not reduce. It cannot reduce. It's an emerging market, and the funds coming into it is increasing. From the moment the circular came up that the market was correcting, is increased over $500 billion. So there's nothing CBN can do about such. All right, and that market in itself, even though they're not primarily local businesses running on that market, as we would have the Nigerian Stock Exchange, but you see, population of the future of finance are already playing the market, and they are very, very excited with the opportunities the market has. So I think that this for their own good, which of course we're going to do. We're educating our users, educating the general population out there. We're also, seeking medium to educate the regulators, okay? Because the second circular CBN brought after the first shows a very high level of a misconception about what cryptocurrency is. I wish they didn't have to get to the point of defining and explaining and quoting a couple of persons who the entire world has seen as being wrong, who are looking for opportunity, or some of them have even said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I came in late into this," and they're already coming in. CBN has as an apex bank of a nation, quoting individuals who have individual opinions about, the processes of making their own money.
Okay, Mr.
We are doing our best in that regard already.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Chuta, are you with us? I want to direct this question to you.
I'm here, CoinNewsExtra.
Okay, we saw a similar thing happen in India some time ago. So the regulators were taken to court and the crypto community won. Do you think court action is a good option here?
Okay, already a civil society group has already challenged the CBN directive to banks. That's already something that is already out there. That was done on Monday morning. So as an industry, we have to exercise restraint, because we're supposed to toe a part of solution, not a part that will compound our problem. Even though we all understand very well that what CBN has done is constitutionally wrong, because if there are individuals who are doing anything wrong in terms of misusing technology, the CBN has the powers, the instrument, the authority to bring such individuals or such entities down. Okay, there is nowhere where in Nigeria's law where there is a blanket ban or blanket restriction of an industry because they observe that an individual or an entity in that industry is doing something that is unlawful to them. So in that respect, it is wrong, but it's not in our place as industry practitioners to begin to toe that line, because we want to be like good children who want to have opportunity to speak with the parents and bring some kind of explanation to probably some misconception that they may have by some of the actions.
Let me add this. In a situation where we are able to dialogue with them and there is no reasonable outcome, positive results, is court action an option?
Well, it's something that the industry will decide, frankly, because we have not decided as an industry that that's a pathway that we will follow. But we are extremely hopeful, because we have indications that the authorities will speak to us, they will engage with us, they would like to work with us. And we have a lot on the table that we can get them to buy into, that is much more important from our own perspective than a face-off. We can't have a face-off with CBN. We wouldn't do that, okay? Because it's either we convince them of the legitimacy of what we are doing, because part of the things that we discovered yesterday was that, okay, they consider us as ghosts. Okay, we don't exist. But we want to show that we are not ghosts. We exist, and we are organized, and we are an industry that should be protected. So we are very confident that they are going to adhere to that. If they don't, we don't need to go to court for that, because crypto can also operate without banks. It can operate without regulators. So what the idea is, why do you want to drive operators underground when you can have them operate where you can see what they are doing? They shouldn't make the same mistake that they did that drove black markets out there. And today we're having serious problem. We have all these money exchangers in the streets and doing this stuff that is seriously causing this economy all the pains that you're experiencing. So they shouldn't repeat it in crypto. If they drive crypto underground, I think that would be the end of the economy, frankly.
Thank you very much. Nice one from you. Dr. Babatunde, do you have any other question?
Well, I mean, so my last question, which actually go back to Mr. Adetunji anyway. I mean, you are, because you're at a vantage position, what's your advice to operators?
Okay, I think it's important first to understand very well, because I keep hearing statements like the industry has been banned. Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies have been banned. That's not true. So, in as much as it is important to share the industry to share the views with the CBN, it's also important for the industry players to understand where the CBN is coming from. I don't think it's a one-way lack of understanding. I think it's a two-way lack of understanding. There's so much you can put in a memo to try and clarify, unless you want to write a book. So the reference to a second memo to try and explain or to dissect or for people to have a better understanding, I think it's a little bit narrow. What I like about the last two statements from the last two speakers is that there is the willingness to share views. Like I said, the discussion around cryptocurrencies, digital currencies, has been going on for the past 4 years. The country is not looking at it, or the CBN is not looking at it only from a Nigeria perspective. It's also looking at it from a global perspective. You will agree with me that right now, cryptocurrencies and coins in general are quite unstable. So you can imagine if the CBN, I'm just using a wild example, the CBN says, okay, you guys can dabble in cryptocurrencies and can do whichever currency you want. Apple currency comes, Tesla currency comes, Bitcoin comes. Elon Musk says, well, I'm going to invest in Bitcoins, the price goes up. Then tomorrow he says, I'm actually going to get out of Bitcoins. The price crashes. And banks have invested or kept their assets in those currencies. What happens to the financial stability of the whole country? Not just for the 1% of 200 million people that are dabbling in Bitcoin, but to the 100%. And that is why a dialogue needs to happen for better understanding of where the CBN is coming from. CBN is not targeting a particular industry. CBN is protecting the nation. That is what the CBN is doing. So there has to be that dialogue and continuous understanding on both sides. Like I said, if you keep cryptocurrencies as an asset and you want to invest in it at your own risk, some people see it as a Ponzi scheme or another MMM. They stay away from it. But it's your prerogative if you decide that you want to invest in an asset that is not insured. Bear in mind that every single deposit that is in any bank in this country is insured against any possible bank run. If anything happens to any bank due to mismanagement or wrongful investments in assets, all those deposits are insured. Who's going to bear that cost? These are platforms that have been established and needs to be understood before saying, okay, well, just let it ride. There's got to be, like I mentioned earlier, there's got to be probably a bill and an act, an amendment to the existing acts for both the SEC and the CBN on digital currencies. What can be done? What are the powers of the regulator, and what shouldn't be the power of the regulator? And that has to involve industry owners, industry players, as well as regulators. So that might take time, but that's what needs to happen. Continuous dialogue.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's see if we can take some questions from the audience. There are some chats going on here. This one is from Moyowa. So it says, how do we attend to technology challenges experienced? What level of engagement has been put in place before this action? So let me see. Let me hear from Chuta. Let me hear from you, Mr. Chuta.
Okay, CoinNewsExtra, thank you. Is he asking what has been put in place by the industry or by the regulator?
By the industry.
Okay. This industry has been active for a pretty long time. In 2017, when CBN constituted a committee for the understudying of cryptocurrencies as an alternative form of payment, they carried out a nationwide research. I and a couple of active industry players were in their Lagos edition, and we made presentations, and we provided them a lot of insight that could have been able to guide them in their approach to regulating the industry. Over the course of the last 3 years or thereabout, we have also engaged top executives and staffs of CBN in several of the conferences that we have been organizing under Blockchain Nigeria User Group. And incidentally, the current director of payments was the keynote addressee in the Lagos edition of our conference in 2017. So they have been involved and they have had close contact with what has been going on in this industry. We have made significant progress with other regulators like SEC, Nigeria, on regulation. We have also made significant progress with NIDA on policy and strategy for the adoption of blockchain technology. And these things are part of the things that baffle us when we start seeing things like this, because government agencies are supposed to be synergized in their approach to policy and regulation. We're not supposed to see them working in silos. I mean, we have made contact with some of our friends who are in the other sister agencies, and they all expressed surprise. They were all taken aback by this decision. So on our side, I think we have done a lot that could have deserved us some recognition of being even invited for some kind of questioning from the CBN. But we didn't get it because they assumed that we are ghosts, okay? But how could we have been ghosts when they were doing those nationwide assessments and they met with different communities across different geographical locations of this country? What lessons did they learn? What are the things that what did they get from those engagements? Okay, so I think, they say better late than never. I think going forward, we should have an open door with them. I know that we are having this issue of who should regulate cryptocurrency. Is it SEC? Is it CBN? Is it NIDA? We know that there are in jurisdictions where operators and participants in the industry have multiple regulatory regimes overseeing what they are doing. There's nothing wrong with crypto exchanges being regulated in some aspects by SEC and CBN also regulating some of the operations. There's nothing wrong in that multiple regulation. But the multiple regulations should all be geared towards one purpose, not to stifle the innovation, but to give them wings to fly. So if an operator needs something from NIDA, he should be able to get it. If he needs from CBN, he should be able to get it. If he needs from SEC, he should be able to get it. They shouldn't turn themselves into bottlenecks that will ultimately stifle the development of the innovation itself.
Thank you very much. Mr. Babatunde, Dr. Babatunde, do you have any question?
Okay, so, I mean, there's a question here which will go to Mr. Adetunji. You say a lot of people's self-earned money has been wiped off from banks because it was associated with cryptocurrency. Is this money lost forever? Can you clarify? So maybe I should rephrase that question. So CBN has said banks should close accounts of exchanges. Exchanges are carrying people's money. Can't there be this handshake where the CBN says, okay, fine, you can run accounts, but we'll give you a leeway. Let's have data of all those who have deposits with you and let their funds be refunded to them, because rather than people's money not knowing what to do with their money, there has to be a way out. Because I know one of the roles of CBN is consumer protection, but now consumers are not being protected because now the consumers' monies are being locked down, or they don't even know what has happened to their money. So how do we resolve those issues?
I think it would be unfair for any bank to show a zero bank account. It's a liability in their books, even if there's a change in policy. And it is the responsibility of those banks to ensure that they have an agreement with the depositors on how they're going to give them their money back, or how they're going to give them those assets back. So I am surprised to know of. So it shouldn't be money lost. In the books of the banks, they have recorded that they have certain liabilities that they have to pay back. They're holding onto certain deposits. They have to account for it. We know that that's an accounting process. It has to be. So it shouldn't be happening. If that is happening, I agree with you, then the CBN has got to get involved and also help consumers iron out how they're going to get their money from the banks. But if you've deposited money, whichever way it came in through, prior to a policy change, you ought to get that money back.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, there is a question from Ade. He said, great insight. Thank you all for this session. He said, can CBN stop peer-to-peer transaction? Maybe Abikure, are you with us? You can take that one. Abikure?
I'm here, please.
Yeah, this person is asking, can CBN stop peer-to-peer transaction?
No, of course. I was already prepared for a press conference on that, but my legal team advised against that. Cryptocurrency startups and any organization operating cryptocurrency services can function without CBN, but it's not good for the economy. It's not good for them. It's not good for them, basically. I can't say whether it's not good for the economy, but it's not good for CBN. Yes, we can. They can't stop peer-to-peer, and peer-to-peer is not the only solution to bank accounts. There are about 5 solutions currently on our desk that cryptocurrency will operate here in Nigeria and anywhere in the world without the banks.
Can I just add to that is correct, and the intention of the bank is not to stop peer-to-peer.
But I don't want to. This is not the forum to begin to disclose those alternatives. Well, peer-to-peer is a known one. Yes, peer-to-peer can work without CBN. Yes,
the CBN is aware of alternatives, and the intention is not to stop peer-to-peer transactions. And like I keep saying, the intention is not to ban cryptocurrencies, and the intention is not to stop cryptocurrency transaction. If you have other means of transacting, that is fine. What I've been harping on is that it's a temporary thing because it needs to be better understood. It's a space that needs to be better understood, and the CBN, as the ultimate banker, has got to be sure that it is not a risk to their advantages, and that is recognized. Blockchain technology is a big thing. It's huge. But that is blockchain technology. Fragmentation of currencies being used in an economy can be a big risk as well. And that is where the issue is. The issue is not to stop. If you decide tomorrow and I start Adeola coin and you choose that is what you want to invest in, good for you. And I've seen people trying to start their own cryptocurrencies in this country. Good for them. And whoever decides to invest in them for whatever promises that they have, then it's at their own risk. What the CBN is just saying is we're going to protect the greater good, and we're going to ensure that our financial systems are stable until everybody understands, or till we understand this space better. And that is why that dialogue and exchange needs to happen.
Thank you very much. It's like we'll take one more question and we'll call it a day on this today's edition of CoinNewsExtra weekly blockchain, cryptocurrency, and fintech panel discussion. We are going to be drawing the curtain. Dr. Babatunde, do you have any last question before we draw the curtain?
No, I mean there's no last question. I think that'll be all for today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It has really been an amazing time out. with our panelists who took our time to come joining us today. Yeah, I really, really appreciate it because this has been a challenging time and very pressing issue, the topic of the CBN. People thought it was actually a ban, it's not a total ban on cryptocurrency. You know, the nature of cryptocurrency is decentralized and is also meant for peer-to-peer transaction. So I really appreciate all the people who took our time. Our panelists, Mr. Chuta Chimezie, who is the founder of Blockchain Nigeria User Group. Thank you, Mr. Chuta, for joining us.
Thank you, CoinNewsExtra. Always a pleasure to hang out with you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Adeola Adetunji, who is the CEO of Mvoula Group Limited and also non-executive director of Central Bank of Nigeria. Thank you for joining us, Adeola.
Thank you. It was good to be on your panel.
It's a pleasure having you. Also, thank you very much to Senator Ihenye, President Stakeholders in Blockchain Association of Nigeria, who is ably represented by John Arinze Sipan, Vice President on Policy and Regulations. Thank you, John, for joining us.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you too, Abikure Tega, who is the founder and CEO of Kurecoin. Thank you, Abikure, for joining us.
All right, it's always a pleasure with CoinNewsExtra.
It's a pleasure. So Nathaniel, he left. He had some network issues. He is the lead Nigeria. Thank you very much, Dr. Babatunde Obrimah, who is the CEO of Fintech Association of Nigeria, who took our time to co-moderate this wonderful session with me. Thank you very much, Dr. Babatunde.
Thank you, Lee, for having us.
Yeah, so thank you very much. We really appreciate the Fintech Association of Nigeria who partnered with us on today's episode, and also to our sponsors, Tech, Sigma Group, Hydro Project Hydro, and HOD Community. Thank you very much, and also to our audience who took our time to come joining us. So if you have questions and every other thing, you can reach out to any of our panelists. You just reach out to us, we can connect you to them so that you'll be able to ask any other questions you have. So reach out to CoinNewsExtra at www.coinnewsextra.com. You can reach out to us across all our social media as CoinNewsExtra. Thank you very much. See you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.